Episode 7 Do It Yourself and Stand Tall. For the first time in a long time, I drank no beer or tequila on Sunday. I guess waking up with a man in your bed can do that to a guy. Also, I've had about 17 showers trying to get Colonel Mustard's ashes out of my system and the smell of Lysol off my skin. I will never be able to stay in a cheap motel again because every time I smell Lysol, I have to run to the closest John. Shit, we shot a guy's ashes out of a plastic cannon powered by Lysol. We do put the fun back in funerals. But next time, we really should think things through a little better. At least we should know which way the wind is blowing. Another Monday morning, and Tina is busy working on her books again. Morning, Tina, I say.
Hello, Ben. I already know you call me Tinkerbell behind my back, but I'll take that as a compliment. She was one of my heroes, her and the Terminator,
she says without a smile. Man, that's a spread of heroes. Then I ask, Tina, are we ever going to make 19% profit at Anderson's funeral home? Or is this some pipe dream of my dickhead brother? She puts her right hand on her chin and says,
Well, yes and no. But I would tell you that on average, we do make about 18.5% for the last 5 years.
Even with all of Albert's trade-ins and slave labor?
Yes, Mr. Anderson. Even with the kind-hearted gestures of your brother.
So now I get it. The motherfucker wants me to beat his record of 18.5% profit. That's why the 19%. Son of a bitch. If he wasn't already dead, I would put him in the ground. I ask Tina, why are so many people cremated and not buried?
Simple. It's the cheapest way to go. The plots cost money and the coffins are, as you know, well, pricey.
The plots can't be that expensive here in Nowhere Land.
Most people here in Nowhere Land are fucking butt poor and have little cash.
Oh shit, she's starting to sound more like me every day, and that's not a good thing. I seem to be rubbing off on her in all the wrong ways. She continues.
Anderson's funeral home owns a shitload of plots already at Forest Lawn Cemetery. Your dear brother bought them cheap as borscht years ago.
Of course he did, I think to myself. Okay. So if we gave our wonderful community a deal on the plots and better options on the coffins, do you think we could squeeze a few more dollars out of the peasants to be buried instead of burnt? I asked curiously.
If we make it closer to the cost of being toasted, more people might choose to be buried, and we could make more than 18.5% profit. I love it! But how the fuck are we gonna do that?
Oh my god, she's starting to say fuck more than me. Should I mention this to her? She would probably just tell me to fuck off. What have I created? A potty-mouthed Disney character? Let me think about it, Tina. I got some ideas left in this old fat skull of mine.
Oh shit, that scares me,
she says with her cute little smile. And Tina, I was just wondering, who Sam had lunch with on Friday? She sure was dolled up. Tina smiles at me.
Aren't you a little snoop? Just some guy she met at law school. Brent something. Never met the guy, they just keep in touch. I do know he's a partner in some fancy law firm in Regina.
My bullshit radar turns on. Come on, Tina, what are you holding back on me? I know you and Sam have no secrets. She seems to be avoiding the subject every time I bring it up. Like at dinner the other night, I say with a frown. Tina looks at me a little sheepish and says,
Okay, he has the hots for Mum, and he's trying to persuade her to move to Regina and work at his law firm. He has offered her some pretty impressive incentives.
Wow, is she really considering his offer? Where would Andersons ever find another lawyer with her dedication? Nowhere.
A little, I think. She also said if the funeral home went tits up, there would be a job for me. I'm the only thing keeping her in this town.
Shit, I think to myself. If Sam takes that job, I could lose my best employee and my fabulous lawyer. Without them, there would be no way to make 19% profit in 2 years. I feel the blood leaving my head. Tina looks at me and says,
Mr. Ben, are you okay? You look like you just seen a ghost.
Yes, yes, I feel fine. Just got some stuff on my mind. I get up a little shaky and head to the door. Tina spurts out.
Mom did say that she had a very nice evening with you.
Then why did she boot me out at 10 p.m.? I think to myself. I walk over to the car lot to say good morning to the last person I slept with, Sid. Fuck, now that's very, very sad, I mutter to myself, trying to erase the memory. Then I see our newly acquired, beautiful 1935 Ford pickup sitting outside. Not a chance was I going to let a jewel like that be left outside after all those years being in the garage. That's like kicking your 91-year-old mum out of the house to live in a tent in the middle of Saskatchewan in the winter. Not gonna happen. There's only one spot to put my baby, a nice, dry, warm place, like the coffin showroom. It took a little destruction, but Sid and I got her through the double doors into the showroom. I can breathe again. That old girl needs a nice, warm bed. I'm going to hate to let that baby go when we find a buyer, but if I had kept every car and truck that I have ever loved, I would need a garage bigger than Jay Leno's. I go back to my office and pull out the giant Marvel Yellow Pages. It was time to tackle my next business idea. Under C, for cabinet makers, I pick out the shittiest looking ad, thinking to myself, he could use some business, I'm pretty sure. Out the door I go, yelling to Tina, back later, off to see a wood butcher.
Wood butcher? What the fuck is that?
She yells back, potty mouth. I yell back. I just hope she doesn't start swearing at her clients. It was a long drive, like 12 miles. I should have brought a six-pack. The place was easy to find, but it looked like an old barn. What a friggin' dump. There's a crappy homemade sign that says, if it's made out of wood, we can build it. There is a wooden arrow that points to a door that says, office. I walk in the door and a buzzer rings. The office is a mess. Everything is covered in sawdust, including a few chairs and an old beaten desk. Another door opens from the back of the office, and I'm looking at Saskatchewan's version of Jed Clampett.
Well, howdy. What can I do for you, son?
He asks, reaching out to shake my hand. Well, sir, I need a few wood boxes made.
Boxes? What kind of boxes?
Pine boxes, I reply. He stares at me for what seemed like forever, and then says,
Like the pine boxes in the movies?
Yep, but I want you to make them, put them together with screws, then take them apart again. Get it?
Like the Swedes do at IKEA.
I say, exactly. He shakes his head and says,
Pine's expensive. Plywood is much cheaper.
wow, that's great. We could even offer a cheaper model. I asked Jed, what's cheaper than plywood? He thinks for a moment and says,
MDF.
I grab his hand and say, Jed, sorry, what is your name?
Jed.
He says with a smile. Jed, we are in business together. If you ever need a funeral, it's on the house. When I get back to the funeral home, Tina's just about to close up. Tina, we now offer do-it-yourself coffins in 3 beautiful coffin models, pine, plywood, or MDF. And the best part is you build them at home with prices starting at $199. Tina just shakes her head and says,
I gotta give you credit, boss. That's pretty cheap for a coffin. Does it come with a pillow?
Sure, I reply, but that's an option.
Okay, You now offer cheap boxes, but what about the cemetery plots? Are you going to give them away for $199 also? Or are you just going to bury them in the funeral home's backyard?
Shit, that's not a bad idea, Tina.
Mr. Ben, now you're really crazy. I think there's laws in place to stop people from burying their family members in the flower bed along with their pet gerbil.
Tina says, shaking her head yet again. But hey, I have a great legal department, I say with a wink.
Mr. Ben, I'm not sure you could afford her retainer fees.
Hey, that hurts, I reply, putting my hand over my heart. Tina, how many plots did my dear smart brother buy over there at Forest Lawn Cemetery?
A shitload.
Can you give me a number, say between 1 and a million?
I will have to check on that to give you a precise number. We have sold many over the years as well. Not everyone wants to go up the chimney to heaven, Mr. Ben.
Exactly! Soon we'll be the only funeral home in 3,000 kilometers to get you set up in a nice box and get buried for $3.99.
Are you crazy, Mr. Ben? Those plots are worth a hell of a lot more than that. The cemetery director calls those plots bloody real estate.
Okay, just let me deal with this. So roughly, how many plots do we still have?
I would think 289, give or take a few.
You really do have a thing for numbers, don't you? I get the green sparkling eyes again. You've said you've been to Vegas. Do you know what card counting is, Tina?
Yes, Mr. Ben. We do have TV and cable in this lovely town.
Then it dawned on me. Tina actually owns her own house. Not a tiny studio apartment, but a nice little house. At her age, all I owned was my charger. What the fuck? I never owned a house in my whole life, and I have lived in Saskatchewan for most of it. Shit, maybe she was a card counter and made a bundle in Vegas, then got out of Dodge before they caught up to her. When it comes to numbers, she's like a goddamn Einstein. I go back to focusing on my own brainiac plan. Just not sure when the law will come calling again. Just hope I can pull it off. Okay, thanks Tina. I'm going over to Forest Lawn Cemetery tomorrow morning to see our real estate. And now, I'm out of here. You know where to find me, I say, closing the door behind me. As I drive to Leo's, I think, shit, Tina is only 26 years old and owns her own house. Jesus, where did I go so wrong? I live in a funeral home. A goddamn funeral home. Another morning, another hangover. Maybe that's why I never had a house of my own. Showered and shaved, I'm off to the cemetery to redevelop my land. I head over to Forest Lawn Cemetery to have a little chat with the head honcho. I walk into the very, very neat, nice reception area with a pretty young girl sitting at a desk. I can see on her computer screen she is on Facebook. Busy place, I think to myself. She looks up and says,
Can I help you, sir?
It's Sir Ben, I think to myself. Yeah, I need to speak to Mr. Pritchard about the plots that Anderson's Funeral Home owns here at Forest Lawn.
Do you have an appointment?
Well, no I do not, I say with my biggest smile. But since I own most of the real estate in this beautiful place, I think Mr. Pritchard will be happy that I came in for a little visit. She looks confused. Oh, sorry, my name is Ben Anderson. I own Anderson's Funeral Home and Quality Used Cars.
Please wait here, Mr. Anderson. I'll see if he can see you. He's a very busy man.
As she goes into his office, I follow very quietly behind her. I see Mr. Boss is doing a Sudoku puzzle at his desk. I bull my way past his nice little secretary and put out my big mitt of a hand right in his face. He looks like he's stoned or something, looking very bewildered at his cutie pie and then back at me. Who are you? He finally says. Ben Anderson from Anderson's Funeral Home and Quality Used Cars. He shakes my hand like a wet noodle. Ugh. I'm here to see my real estate because I think it's time that we subdivide. He looks at me like I'm from Mars. After the shock of my unannounced visit is over, I get down to business. Mr. Pritchard, I just need to know a few numbers. He looks very confused and says, "Okay, what kind of numbers?" Number 1, how many plots does Anderson's funeral home own here that are not occupied? Number 2, what are the measurements of those plots? And number 3, how deep can your current machinery dig a grave? I ask with authority. I swear he was looking at me like he was waking up from a very bad dream. "Hello," I say. Okay. I can get you that information, Mr. Anderson, but when do you need it?" "This afternoon," I say with my best shark smile. "Are you serious?" I smile again, but this time using my evil eyebrow technique. I think he finally got the message. Back at the funeral home office, Tina answers the phone. "Anderson's blah 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 blah." She listens for a second, then passes the phone to me and says,
Mr. Pritchard.
"Yeah, that's great. Give it to me." I grab my pen and pad. "Okay, 289. Most plots are 3 feet by 12 feet. Some are a little bigger, some are a little smaller. Okay, I got it. How about the backhoe?" "Perfect. Okay, thanks for getting back to me. Oh, there's one more thing. Have you ever buried someone standing up in a coffin?" Tina's mouth is hanging wide open. "Well, okay. I guess there's a first time for everything." I hang up the phone and clasp my hands behind my head. Tina has figured it out by now. I say, "We are subdividing our real estate, Tina. One 3-foot by 12-foot plot can easily hold 6 or even 8 coffins standing up." She gives me the "You are cuckoo" locomotion sign on the side of her head. "Hey, we can offer heads or tail burials. Did you know in some cultures it's rude to be buried with your feet pointing at someone else? Well, we've solved that problem." She looks at me, shaking her head, and says,
Where do you come up with all this bullshit?
"Google."
Mr. Ben, did you Google it to see if it's legal in Saskatchewan to bury people standing up? You always seem to forget we have laws in the wild, wild west.
Anyway, problem solved. We now have many more cheaper plots to offer our not-so-wealthy clients. It's going to be great for our business. I pick up a coin and toss it in the air. Heads or tails? Wow, we buried a fucking guy riding his horse, for God's sakes. The only law I can find it says there must be at least 3 feet of dirt on top of the coffin. The backhoe at Forest Lawn can go down somewhere between 10 and 11 feet. It's a win-win for this funeral home, Tina. We can now officially offer a $399.99 box and bury, plot included. We will save about $1,000 a month on our gas bill alone. I say as I've just invented the time machine.
You might be onto something, Mr. Ben. I'm just not sure that Forest Lawn Cemetery is going to allow you to subdivide our plots.
I look at Tina with my biggest evil smile and say, "If they don't, find me a nice piece of property on a hill around here.
A hill? What is a hill?
And we will put them out of business." It's almost 5, so I say goodnight to Tina and head over to my favorite watering hole. On the way, I decide to give Sam a call. She answers on the second ring.
Ben, I was just thinking about you.
Good or bad thoughts? Or do I owe you money?
All good. I had such a nice time with you on Friday.
Sam has a little chuckle. "Well, what are you up to now? How about dinner on me at the best digs in Marvel? Hodong's Chinese Palace."
Ben, I would love to, but I have a few more hours of work to catch up on, and I have an early rise tomorrow. I'm heading to Regina on a business trip for a few days.
Fuck me, I say, hoping I didn't say it out loud.
Pardon? I didn't quite get that, Ben.
Oh, sorry, just commenting on somebody's bad driving skills. Sorry, Sam.
Okay, Ben. I'll call you when I get back. And maybe I'll take you up on that dinner at the palace.
We hang up, I drop my charger down a gear, and burn a little rubber. It's time to get my shit together. Nothing like some competition to get my blood flowing again.